Yo, what's up, everybody? Back again. Gonna check out a little bit of trends, see what's going on, man. Thank you so much for chilling. Hit that subscribe, like, whatever you do. If not, it's all good. We're gonna get right into it, though. Let's see what we got today.
Sacrifices happiness for his family, and a woman will sacrifice her family for her happiness.
I feel like over time that's become true. I don't feel like it was always that way, but it seems like I see a lot more men sticking with the family than the woman.
I don't believe that.
I believe.
I believe it.
Because you guys are the men.
No,
getting
because it happened to me in real life.
Yeah, I believe that, and that happens a lot. I think it's
For what it's worth, you know, I grew up, spent a lot of time in a single parent home, and my dad was there. Mom had
this
bounced.
is hard for you to accept it because I don't think I think you would be different.
No, yeah, you're good. But my mom left when I was like 1 or 2.
See, that gives me chills.
She
like,
disappeared.
thinking about that.
Not disappeared, but like she was wanting to like go do young people stuff and go party and stuff like that. While my dad had to sit, go to work and take care of me. She did come back eventually, but
Same. I mean, yeah, is what it is. Grew up in the same environment.
that's picking
Yeah.
happiness over her family.
Yeah. So what was that again? Read it back. A man would sacrifice his happiness for his family. A woman would sacrifice her family for her happiness.
Just they're like cats, a little more selfish.
Yep.
I don't think it was always that way. I think something in the water or social media or whatever it is kind of conditioned women to be that way. It just is what it is. Kind of like Jeffree Star, where he's been coming from lately. Let's see what he's got to say.
You can only be a man, a woman, or trans. I am not gay.
I don't personally believe you can be trans. I think that's bullshit. I think you can, think you're something else or whatever, but it doesn't really change who you are.
I am just open and very me. There's obviously a lot of gay people out there that only like a certain thing. That's great. LGB is it. Q and T, get off the alphabet, sweetie. You should be in your own category. Okay?
Category of insane.
Let me break it down for you straights. Lesbian, gay, and bi. Is that not a sexuality?
That is a sexuality. Yes, I don't understand it, but it is.
That's a sexuality, yes.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
What you think your identity is has nothing to do with what you're sexually attracted to. So why is T and Q on LGB? And what fuck that means. LGB, gay, lesbian, and bi, that is your preference of who you are attracted to.
I get what he's saying. He doesn't understand the ad. I feel like they add a lot of people in. They'll also try to add like black people in as their allies for some reason. I've never really understood that. I feel like they try to grow the movement by making people feel accepted, even if they're not really part of it, because people want to be accepted by a group. So they kind of play off all that. It's a lot of psychology behind that shit.
And what you like. Your identity issues and who you think you are is so separate. I don't agree that they should be together. You can only be a man, a woman, or trans.
So when you say this, what's the pushback that you get?
It was like, I don't know.
The pushback he's going to get is just like anybody else. People act like you're because you choose to say my beliefs. That's what I don't understand about gay shit. They make you want to be accepting. Like, if you're going to be accepting of me too. I don't agree with it. Who needs me to agree with it? I don't come and try to tell you should agree with how I feel. So why the fuck do you feel the need to come and tell me I should agree with how you feel? I don't care. Here's what it is.
It's just very bizarre. But most people got it, and they were happy that someone who is a male that just does whatever the fuck they want and does look feminine is saying it. A lot of the straight community were very afraid to tiptoe around that.
What does you, a person who's rich, who doesn't know what struggle is like?
With that being said, I don't care what people do. Just don't try to make me feel like it's normal. If you want to go Be gay if you want to go, be trans, whatever you want to do, that's fine. But don't try to tell me I should accept it as the norm. I don't think it's normal. I don't hate gay people. I hate gay shit. I think it's weird. It is what it is.
And who also talks about the fact that you use your own son's blood have to add to us as humanity. It's really false of you to claim that people are focusing their life on dying, when really all of us are focusing on surviving. That's why we're here.
I hate people who start off a conversation
Every one of us is
with like, oh, you're rich, you don't know what it's like. I guarantee she doesn't know this guy's background. We don't know who he is or what he's done, but she's just like, oh, I assume because you look like you're doing wealthy because I perceive you as doing well, that you don't know what the struggle is like. So ridiculous.
here today because we're surviving. We don't go to McDonald's and think, oh, this is killing me. We go to McDonald's because we don't have enough time in the day to make dinner. Because we can't.
You can make dinner in just as much time as it takes to go to McDonald's, order the food, pick it up, and leave. The other idea is just laziness. Telling yourself that you need to eat out to save time is just laziness.
Can't afford to go to the grocery store and buy a $20 steak because we can't shop at Erewhon and get $40 of strawberries, you know? So I think a lot of us are here wondering, what does you, a person who's rich, who doesn't know what struggle is like, and who also talks
$40 of strawberries and $20 steaks. That's the only market and only thing you can possibly buy, you know, but it's fine to go to McDonald's and spend, I don't even know what McDonald's costs. I don't eat there. What, $10, $15 a meal? You know, it's just ridiculous. This lady lives in a victim mentality, and unfortunately, people with excuses will never be successful. They'll just cry about it all day.
It's about the fact that you use your own son's blood have to add to us as humanity.
Yeah. Hi, Chelsea.
Hey.
Yeah, I grew up with 4 other siblings, single mom. My mother made my clothes because we didn't have enough money for her to buy clothes for me. I went to school and I got.
Another thing is these people also believe that if you are in a good situation, that you were born into a good situation. They don't believe that you can work hard and overcome obstacles and put yourself in a better financial situation. That's what's wrong with them. It's a victim mentality. They don't believe it's possible because they couldn't do it, because they're losers.
Made fun of because my clothes didn't fit and they were awkward. I didn't have money my entire life. I became an entrepreneur. I struggled for 14 years with no money whatsoever. So I understand what it feels like to have no money. I know what it feels like to be poor. So I've been through that. I also was.
Already knew, because everyone deals with struggles at some point. Very few people, a very small percentage of people are just born with a silver spoon and don't have to work for what they have. It just doesn't happen very often.
I was chronically depressed for 10 years. I wanted to commit suicide desperately. I really would have committed suicide had it not been for my 3 kids. I felt like I had a responsibility to them. So I understand struggle. I understand pain. I was, 50 pounds overweight. I was in a terrible shape. And so I understand what it's like to be that way. My argument is not to criticize you or anyone.
There he goes. Everybody deals with their own struggles. You never know what somebody else is dealing with. If you act that way, you're just judgmental.
Else. What I'm arguing is that companies have built their products to make you addicted and to make you ill. That's the core thing I'm trying to say, is that the most powerful economic engine in all of history, the American economic engine.
It's very true. The same people who make the chemicals that heal you are the same people who make the chemicals to kill you. You gotta understand. They just make chemicals. They make drugs. They know how to get you addicted to shit. It's a game. It's a game you're way behind in. I'm way behind in. Nobody will ever know. Don't try to beat them. Just eat healthy. Live healthy.
Has pointed itself at creating addictive foods and phones and social media and junk food.
Do you not think that you're addicted to trying to stay alive?
So you're charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Shh. You have the right to have an attorney present.
I don't care if it's judge or not. Don't shush me. Don't shush another individual. Don't shush another adult. Say, excuse me, right? Say something. Don't shush me, okay? And I've seen this judge before. He's pretty cool normally, but don't shush me.
If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On February 5th, 2025, the officer responded to a suspicious person with a weapon on 5900 Gulf Freeway. The officer made contact with the defendant, who was 17 years old. The defendant advised he was inside Jack in a Box while brothers were selling waters outside. The defendant
Probably, hey, you're a kid. Hey, that's an easy hustle. You go outside, you get a case of water for whatever you selling for like $2 a piece. You're going to double up your money on that. And keep doing it. Run it back. Especially if you're in areas where they have like games or people are walking, people are driving by, sitting in traffic a lot. Hey, sell water. Hey, the water boys make.
And saw a male rushing at his brothers with a knife, pulled out his gun, and pointed it at the male while telling his brothers to run. The officer performed a search on the defendant, locating a 9mm Glock 19, and the defendant advised he bought the gun from a friend for $150.
I mean,
Yes, Judge. In this case, the officer was going off the fact that he performed the search because he indicated there was a firearm. So
he's going to the defense of others.
Defense of others. Who cares if he's 17? At 18, you can go to war. At 18, you can be in the military, learn how to use sidearms, learn how to use, primary weapons, big, long rifles. You can use rocket launchers. It's fine if you're 18 at war. But you're 17 back home, pick up a gun to defend somebody, they want to put you in jail. And for what?
Yes, Judge.
It's another person.
And it's just the way this is pled is because he's underage. He's below the age of 21. That's the way it's pled, Your Honor.
You hear this?
Hold on. I'm going to go yell at somebody.
Hold on, I'm going to go yell at somebody. Don't do that. Hey, you ain't got to yell at nobody. Drop these charges and let me leave.
Hi, Judge. Is this young man charged with unlawful carrying of possession for being under 21?
Correct.
Hold on, I've got a kit. Here's the GPS
But I'm
memo.
more concerned about the defense of others. Did you hear it? I mean,
No, hold on a second. Here's the GPS.
Let me give you a lawyer, Mr.
Yeah. Oh, I volunteer. Representative. Yeah.
Give me a record. Can you fill that out, please?
I will do that. But here's a GPS memo saying that it's unconstitutional.
Representative gentleman.
Oh, hell yes. Here's the Fifth Circuit saying that it's unconstitutional. Here is the United States District Court, Northern District, saying it's unconstitutional.
That sucks, man. Even if you beat a charge, it's been so long, right? It's like you've sat in jail, you've had to go through it, you've probably lost like a job or your apartment. God only knows how long it's going to actually take you to get to court. It's like, man, cops should be better trained on the law. There are a lot of good cops, though. Don't get me wrong.
Here's a motion to quash information. I'll just cross out the name.
You know, there's something rather peculiar that happens to certain.
This guy, Alan Watts, I didn't know who he was till recently. I started hearing some of his stuff, and I love him. He's great. He's great to listen to. Very, very smart man.
People. They walk into a room and they feel it all. The unspoken tension between two friends, the hidden sadness behind a smile. And we've been told this is a gift, haven't we? This ability to see what others miss. But I want to suggest something quite different to you today. That this very ability, this clear seeing, might be the most dangerous thing you'll ever possess. Now, I'm not speaking of danger.
See? Just like things are, and are watching people and learning, you realize that a lot of people just kind of live in the moment and they're like happy in their head and they critically think. And like, unfortunately, once you start critically thinking, you can never quit, and it can be very overwhelming at times.
In the ordinary sense. I'm not talking about physical harm. I'm speaking of something far more subtle and far more devastating. the danger of becoming so aware that you can no longer participate in the beautiful unconsciousness that allows.
That's what I was just talking about. Like, once you become to the state of like hyper awareness, you can't ever just relax anymore. Those days are done. Like, even in your sleep, you're still like at a state of being ready. I don't know, maybe that will go away at some point. It's just like it lasts forever.
Allows most people to live their lives in relative peace. Have you ever watched people at a party? Really watched them? They're playing a game, you see. Everyone knows the rules without ever being told. You ask how someone is, they say fine. And you both pretend this is a complete answer.
Man, see, this is crazy. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This dude, like, it'll make you feel like everything and everyone is just being fake after a certain point. You just feel like everyone's fake. It's weird.
You compliment the host. You laugh at jokes that aren't particularly funny. You nod sympathetically at stories you've heard before. It's a kind of collective agreement to stay on the surface, to keep things pleasant, to not look too deeply.
So at a certain point, small talk, I hate it. Like, I'm not good at small talk. People think you're very direct when you get past all this. And it's like, why would I have these conversations? Just a waste of my time.
But then there's you, the one who sees through it all. You notice the wife who flinches slightly when her husband speaks. You sense the colleague who's desperately lonely, despite being surrounded by friends. You feel the anxiety rippling through the room like an invisible current.
Everybody's dealing with something. And once you can just watch people and figure it out by their reactions and their movements and nonverbal communication, it's really odd, you know. I think I started developing this skill playing poker when I was younger, because you just really can start picking up on people's tells, and it's just a snowball effect. You can learn a lot about a person just observing them.
And here's where the danger begins. Because once you see these things, you cannot unsee them. And more troubling still, your very presence becomes a kind of mirror that others cannot bear to look into. Let me tell you what I mean. When you see clearly, when you perceive the hidden currents beneath social interaction,
it ruins everything, because you're not able to continue that type of conversation. You're able to go deeper, and people don't want to go deep. It scares them, especially someone who's strong and confident. They don't like it.
you're essentially calling attention to what everyone has agreed to ignore. And people don't like this. They really don't like this. Not because they're bad or stupid, but because your clarity threatens the very structure that allows them to function.
Everyone hides everything. Everyone puts up a front. When you can break through that front, it just, people hate it. Some people despise you for it. A lot of people will be okay, you know, and they're able to get through it. But there are some people who will just despise you for that.
Think of it this way. Society is rather like a stage play. Everyone has their part. The successful businessman, the devoted mother, the reliable friend. These are roles, you understand.
This is the kind of stuff that makes you feel like the universe is centered around you. It'll give you superiority complex, because you're like, these people are NPCs. Like, they're just part of a cog in my life wheel, and they might not even really exist. You know, do you ever think about that kind of stuff? You think about, like, what if everything you see really is a simulation? It's just based on you, right? It's insane, but it's just like, do you ever think about it just for the possibility of it being reality?
Costumes we put on. And the play works beautifully, so long as everyone stays in character. But you, with your penetrating awareness, you're like an audience member who stands up in the middle of the performance and shouts, "But that's just an actor pretending." Well, you can imagine how welcome that makes you. The first danger, then, is isolation. And I don't mean the ordinary loneliness of not having enough friends. I mean something far more profound. The isolation of living in a completely different reality from everyone around you.
You ever felt that way? You ever felt like where you're living, what you're seeing, what you feel, what you experience, no one else feels? Like you feel like missing, like you're born in the wrong time. You ever heard that type of shit? Because it's just like, it's different everything's different. What you experience, what you see, how you perceive situations completely different. It's fun.
You're speaking a language nobody else understands. You're seeing a world nobody else can see. And the terrible irony is that the more clearly you perceive, the more alone you become. I once knew a woman, let's call her...
Strong people are completely comfortable being alone. They're fine with it. It's kind of part of the gig.
Sarah, who had this extraordinary ability to read people. She could walk into a room and immediately sense who was genuine and who was performing, who was in pain and who was pretending to be fine, who could be trusted and who was hiding something. And you know what happened to her.
You can, and I think everyone can experience this. You feel people's energy. Sometimes you just see someone and you're like, it's like a love at first sight thing, or it could be strictly platonic and you just enjoy someone's company for some reason. You just feel it.
She lost every close relationship she had. Not because she was cruel or judgmental, but simply because people felt exposed around her. They couldn't maintain their comfortable masks in her presence. Her friends would say things like, "You're too intense."
Too aggressive, too intense, you're too direct. These are all responses you get from weaker people who try to break you down, and I don't understand it. I've never felt that way. Like when people are strong personalities, it used to make people gravitate towards them. Now it makes people run from them. I think it's, Instagram, TikTok, it is what it is. Social media's changed people's behavior patterns.
You read too much into everything and you cry. Can't you just relax and have fun? But she couldn't. Because seeing clearly isn't something you can turn on and off like a light switch. It's like asking someone who can hear to simply ignore sound. Once you've developed this capacity for perception, it's always there, always operating, always showing you what others prefer to keep hidden. And here's the second danger. When you see the truth of a situation, when you perceive what's really happening beneath the surface, you face a terrible choice. Do you speak or stay?
It's hard. It's hard to just be yourself and understand that if people don't accept you for being yourself, it's completely fine.
Silent. If you speak, you risk being attacked. And I mean this quite literally, though the attack is usually psychological rather than physical. You'll be called negative, overly sensitive, a troublemaker. You'll be accused of creating.
We are co-creating.
See, perfect example. People want you to color within the lines, right? They want you to sit with the bounds that society has already created, and if you don't, they treat you like you're a bad person, when in reality you're just going like, hey, why don't you look at this differently? People cannot take being able to look at things differently. Let's see what this lady said.
With God, we are one with Source. I don't care what anybody says, and I'm going to tell you why. I just read a study on campus, and I have to talk about this because this is so important. Some of you have heard of the study with cats. The cats were from birth raised in dark black rooms, but for a few hours a day, they took two groups of cats and separated them. One
possibility she's been on a little Adderall, right?
group of cats was put in a room for a few hours with horizontal lines, and the other group of cats was put into rooms with vertical lines. The group of cats, as they were raised and they were exposed to real world, they were led into the real world. The group of cats that were exposed to the vertical lines could not see horizontal lines. So objects, horizontal objects, okay? So what this means is the vertical objects they could see, but they would not be able to perch themselves up on couches or tables or anything horizontal because they quite literally couldn't see it.
I feel like there's more to this study. I'd like to follow the study and see kind of what it means. Like maybe they didn't recognize them as objects, and I need to know more data. Like how long were these cats put in rooms? How long were they allowed to see these objects overall? Like were these cats 15 years old when they started trying to introduce them to horizontal stuff? You know, I need more information.
Vice versa, The cats that were exposed to the horizontal lines were running into table legs and they were hitting vertical objects because they could not see it even though it was there. This is us. This is what's happening to us. This is what has happened to all of us. I need somebody to fucking hear this. When we are raised, we are like a sponge from 0 to 7. We're 0 to 7. We're absorbing everything within us, okay?
I think that's kind of saying what the last video was saying, is just like, there's another side to the world that you can see if you choose to. And unfortunately, when people don't see it, they never look past what they already know.
All of it's being pushed inside of us. Ages 7 to 12, it's a little more, the windows are closing, things are shutting. By the age of 13, 14, we're done. Whatever has been programmed in us is essentially what's there, aside from traumas, heavy repetition, emotion. This is great news because our brains are malleable, which means we can change this. But it takes work, it takes time. But if you were exposed to an environment that talks...
It's also true. Only a small percent reprogram way, that's how you're gonna be.
poorly about money, that had a bad relationship with money, you quite literally will only see that outside of you because that's what's being filtered outside of you because that's what you were raised in. Holy shit. This is why I talk about, like when I talk about affirmations, my one buddy went in depth on this, but when you can say, if you say, I am rich,
If you're raised to believe something, you are that. Doesn't matter what the outside world says. If you fundamentally believe something, that's what you become.
I am whatever, a million times a day, your brain can logically counter that and say, no, you're not, because you don't have evidence for it. But the moment that you can continuously say, why does money keep showing up for me? Why do opportunities keep presenting themselves to me? Why? And you ask it that way, your reticular activating system begins to filter itself so that you can start to see it. Motherfucker. This has been in front of my face for years. I've been studying it for years, and this is what I mean by consciousness. You won't see it if you're not there.
People are dead that are walking around today because they don't have another level of consciousness beyond the base reality. They're completely disassociated. They're like zombies walking around. And you can find them everywhere. It's very weird, you know. This is what the term woke originally was supposed to mean before it got turned into some political agenda.
That's why you can't push it on people. It makes fucking sense, because if a person wasn't raised to see it, they have no idea it's there. Oh my God, you guys, I have to start talking about this. Tomorrow I'm going to start breaking down the amygdala, the basal ganglia, the prefrontal cortex, because these things like fear, the amygdala, it starts shooting off, bam, bam, bam. And we think it's a bad thing, but growth on the other side of fear is an amazing thing, because then when we can take a moment of pause and we can name our fear and we can look at our fear, that kicks in our prefrontal cortex and it quiets the amygdala, and it doesn't mean that the fear is gone.
She's using some scientific terms to just say, you know, when you conquer your fear, you become a more confident and better person.
It just means that we can look at it from a different perspective. Bitch, I'm shitting myself. Oh my gosh. We are creating our realities with God. I don't care what anybody says. Holy shit.
I read this thing recently.
All right. Well, hey, she seems convinced, right?
That at the height of the Roman Empire's power, when the generals would be at war in the midst of battle, and the night before or the morning of a battle, they'd be gathered in their tent, the 3 to 5 highest ranking generals, to make a decision. They would have this exercise where they would ask themselves, if we were our worst enemy right now, meaning the guys across the battlefield who are going to fight us, if we were our worst enemy right now, what decision would we...
I wonder who documented all this stuff. You know? You ever think about that when it comes to like Roman generals? If there were 5 people in the room, who's documenting this shit?
We want us to make.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
It would always land on like the most emotional you, eye for an eye type decision. They'd be like, okay, let's do the opposite of that. And they won again and again and again and again. And it is so easy now. It's human nature to get angry at people who attack you incessantly with lies and propaganda and bull. You want to punch these people. I'm from New Jersey, trust me. Like, I would not deal with it well. But you gotta, like, go into a room, scream into
Makes sense.
a pillow and think, what am I gonna do with this so that I can rise above it? Do I want to be more Malcolm X, or do I want to be more Martin Luther King?
You have
It's a pretty funny comparison because Malcolm X didn't really hurt anybody, but it's fine. It's fine. I get the comparison. Still forget this video exists on Instagram. So this is going to be about Obama and his deportation camps that he made, where he was the original one that separated parents from their kids and had them living in really bad conditions. But, you know, the media doesn't talk about that very much for some reason.
Actually, I don't. And that's why we're here. Okay. Thank you. All right. What I'd like to do... No, don't worry about it, guys. Okay, let me finish. Let me... How about... these guys don't need to go. Let me finish. I respect the passion of these young people because they feel deeply about the concerns for their families. Now, what you need to know when I'm speaking as President of the United States and I come to this community is that if, in fact, I could solve all these problems without passing laws in Congress, then I would do so. But we're also a nation of laws. That's part of our tradition. And so the easy way out...
Very true. I don't agree with everything the man says, but what he's saying is very true. I mean, unless you're considering executive orders, which could change a lot of this that you were dealing with, but I get where you're coming from.
...is to try to yell and pretend like I can do something by violating our laws. And what I'm proposing is the harder path, which is to use our democratic processes to achieve the same goal that you want to achieve, but it won't be as easy as just shouting. It requires us lobbying and getting it done. So,
requiring it lobbying, I don't know how he's using that term, so can let him skate by on that one. But the term lobbying in that, it's like, well, if you're talking about deportations and border security, that's actually what the government should do. You should be able to push an agenda with that. Which you did, which is what they're yelling about.
So for those of you who are committed to getting this done, I am going to march with you and fight with you every step of the way to make sure that we are welcoming every striving, hard-working immigrant who sees America the same way we do.
Nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, I feel like when they realized they could start using them to vote, the party's ideology kind of shifted a bit. So,
as a country where no matter who you are or what you look like or where you come from, you can make it if you try. And if you're serious about making that happen, then I'm ready to work with you. But it is going to require work. It is not simply a matter of us just...
I think everyone would like to see some sort of an immigration that was different. I think the elephant in the room we need to address is just like America can't afford to take on a bunch of illegal immigrants who don't directly benefit the workplace. Maybe at some point we could, and we could revisit it if we become in a large surplus of our economy, but we're trillions in debt. We can't really afford to feed anybody, unfortunately.
Saying we're going to violate the law. That's not our tradition. But the great thing about this country is we have this wonderful process of democracy, and sometimes it is messy, and sometimes it is hard. But ultimately, justice and truth win out. That's always been the case in this country.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, unless an executive order comes down and strikes it down before it even gets a chance to be voted on, which also happens quite frequently.
That's going to continue to be the case.
Do you guys think trans women still need to get prostate exams?
That's a fucking interesting take.
Do you think, like, the doctor plays along?
Fuck no. Not any respectable doctor. I'm sure there are doctors that are like big staples of the trans community, but I don't think average day-to-day doctor there. I'm like, dude, you're a dude and you need to get your asshole checked, right?
Like, do you think a trans woman walks into the doctor's office and the doctor's like, All right, ma'am.
Absolutely not.
I'm just gonna go ahead and move your balls here.
NASCAR driver Greg.
Oh man, this Greg Biffle video. It's this is the plane here. It's pretty crazy, right?
Biffle's plane just crashed into a ball of flames during landing in Statesville, North Carolina. And it has been confirmed that Greg Biffle, along with his wife Christina, his teenage daughter Emma, and his 5-year-old son Ryder, were on that plane.
Damn, the whole family goes at once. It's sad, but you know, these things happen. Wonder who else was on that plane.
The family was reportedly on their way to see their friend Garrett Mitchell when the plane went down. The Cessna Citation airplane was seen engulfed in flames to the right of the runway at Statesville Regional Airport on Thursday morning around 10:15 a.m. It is unclear at this
That's a hot crash right there. That's a lot of fire.
time how many people were on the plane when it plummeted to the ground, but the model has the capacity for 8 to 10 passengers. The Federal Aviation Authority stated that the Cessna C-550 crashed while attempting to land. GB Aviation.
Dang, it's like you made the whole flight. You're on the way down. You think it's almost over. Then boop. Welcome to the pearly gates. Meet Jesus, and hopefully all your pets are waiting for you at the Rainbow Bridge.
Leasing LLC, a company linked to Biffle, owns the aircraft. Greg Biffle, also known as Biff, drove for the Roush Racing Team
So I guess no one else was on the plane from the sounds of it.
under the number 16 car for the last 2 decades. Biffle was now semi-retired, and although he won countless races, he was best known for his trackside scuffles with other drivers.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the...
Hey, you know, rest in peace, Greg. All your family. I mean, you got to live 20 years being a race car driver, which is probably the dream of a lot of kids out there, you know? So, unfortunate that your kids didn't get to live out their lives, but hey, God called them home.
Brown University shooter and the killer of the
Look at this freak.
professor in New Hampshire. Apparently, the guy named Claudio Neves Valente, a Portuguese national who oddly enough screamed Allahu
Portuguese national.
Akbar as he was shooting. Somebody make that make sense. But this is what he looks like. He was found dead.
Allahu Akbar while shooting. I've heard different, you know, reports of that, but if he did, what are you surprised about? Their religion, you know, they're not scared to die. They think it's going to make them live in a eternal peace with X amount of virgins and all the rest of it.
Dead? Doesn't make any sense. Why the Portuguese national named Claudio Valente scream Allahu Akbar and then be found dead? Somebody make that make sense. I'm not trying to push a conspiracy theory here, but this guy clearly does not look any Portuguese. If you want to know what Portuguese looks like, I'm not Portuguese, but genuinely speaking. But that's his name. I'll put it right there. That's what he looks like. And that's what the FBI and the Rhode Island police are giving to us. You know, the same people that didn't tell us he was screaming Allah Akbar as he was shooting. I tell you, man, I feel a prop of heavy shit. Apparently, this Portuguese national...
A prop of heavy shit. Yeah, I mean, he, you know, I'm not too familiar with Portuguese people, but it's not what I imagine. But who knows?
Who looks like he's ready to complain about Israel is the perpetrator. Told you he was Christian and white.
Today I'm pleased to announce...
There we go. Oh, Trump reclassifying weed after all these years. It's no longer on the same levels as cocaine and heroin. It's going to be on the levels of Tylenol with codeine in it.
That I will be signing an executive order to reschedule marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 controlled substance.
So what does that mean? Well, a Schedule 1 drug, that is considered a highly addictive drug. They are drugs that are not accepted for any kind of medical use. That includes
Marijuana's coming to everywhere, you know, like it or not.
drugs like LSD, ecstasy, heroin. A Schedule 3 drug, that is a much more lax category. Those are drugs that aren't considered something that would have a high dependency rate. Drugs like Tylenol with codeine. So this again would be a significant shift. Now we also expect that this executive action is going to authorize a pilot program that is going to allow reimbursements to Medicare users for products that contain.
That'd be interesting if they allow, you know, government insurance to pay for CBD products and stuff. That'd really be a huge step. I mean, I don't think anyone should use any drugs overall, but I think if people who use drugs, especially sleeping medicine, light pain medicine, things like that, if they could actually get the same effects out of using weed, it's probably less harmful than the alternatives.
CBD. One thing should be made clear to know. This does not mean that marijuana is legal. It is still illegal on a federal level, something President Trump made very clear.
Right, but it's more likely to be used for medicinal purposes, which, you know, pretty sure the classes for the different schedules of drugs also vary, so who knows.
Now, there's a lot of opposition to this. Just recently, we saw on Capitol Hill a number of lawmakers, both senators and House members, who wrote a letter saying they are opposed to any kind of reclassification of marijuana.
Yeah, I don't know what people would be opposed. Probably being lobbied by different kind of companies. Anthony Joshua, I mean, now this fight's over. It was an obvious fight. Jake Paul was a huge underdog. Without a fix, man, he's a former Olympic gold medalist, a former heavyweight champion, and he's still in great shape. No one really thought Jake was going to win this fight.
Touching my face, brother. Come on. Let's get this shit on, buddy. Let's go. Let's go.
You got to appreciate Jake for standing up, fight someone bigger than him, much more skilled than him. Hey, he's, you know, he hit him with some good shots too, but at the end of the day, Joshua broke his jaw in two places and knocked him out. Well, he might have smelled fear, but he might have also just misread the situation. Who knows? But like I said, Jake Paul got knocked out. It is what it is. Guys, thank you so much for chilling. That'll be it. That'll be it for this one. If you've had fun, sub. If not, then maybe I'll see you later. Maybe I'll catch you on a different one, a little bit more along your lines. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Peace.